All right, good morning, guys. You are welcome back to my space. God bless you. I love you so much. My name is Akintayo Cody Michael, and you already know that I'm passionate about people having healthy love life and great marriages and everything that has to do with people just living an effective life. So, very quickly, I want to discuss something that I believe is going to bless you and the fears you shouldn't be having about marriage is something that I want to talk about. The fears that you shouldn't be having about marriage or love relationships. As much as people want to shield people from the wrong voices that they hear in the media space or from the media space, um, the wrong concept and model that they get from the media space, it is important that we bring caution to people that are about to start a love relationship or just a love life. It is important. So this is not in a bit to make you afraid of marriage. This is not in a bit to make you afraid of love, but it's important to bring caution. So the title should not be a problem. So it is the fear that you shouldn't be having about marriage, the fear you shouldn't be having about love relationships. And I think the number one fear is you shouldn't be having the fear of your partner being your support system. That's the number one thing. So when you find this fear or when you notice this problem, I think it's important that one either leaves or that pragmatic steps be taken for solutions to come. So, for instance, you don't want to be in a relationship or a love life with someone that is not ready to support you, someone that is not ready to support your vision, someone that is not ready to give to you to becoming better. You see that scripture says marriage is good, and I think it's Ecclesiastes 9 verse 4. It says two are better than one. You see that? So you can't imagine that you are in a relationship with someone and you're not getting better because they don't want to support, they don't want to stand by you. You see that? So you can't you should be afraid to be in a relationship with someone that is not going to be a support system. In fact, this is how scripture puts it. It said two have now become one. So they should be the person closest to you. They should be happy to want to do something for you. They should be happy to want to give to you. I think it was yesterday me and my partner was just strolling out and I was just teasing and I was saying something about even this Christian relationship, money they come out from the relationship, but like we they spend and all that like that. And fast forward now, in the end of everything, I was just telling her that it's always a blessing every time I have the privilege of getting things for her, every time I have the privilege of doing things for her. It's truly a blessing because the idea should be that this person have now become you, or this person is now becoming you. Do you understand? Two have become one. And so it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be hard to want to do something for them. You can't be stingy. And you can't be doing life with someone that is stingy to you. It's funny. In fact, the proof that you want to do life with them is because you have now come to the point where you don't find it hard to give to them. And this is not just finances, but I'm saying give your love to them, give your heart to them, give your care to them. This is very, very important. So the fear that you should run away from, or the fear that you should talk about, is the fear of having a partner that wouldn't want to be your support system or a support system. And so that's the number one fear that you should be running from. Now, the number two fear that you should be running from is the fear of the problem that is caused by immaturity. Yeah, the fear of the problem that is caused by immaturity. I would like to cite an example in this case. You probably have had people that they continue to fight every time. Now, it is important that you understand that for relationships, it is two persons coming together. And if two persons are coming together, it means they've been in different environments, different things have shaped their understanding. There's a possibility that they have once in a while misunderstandings, but it shouldn't be frequent. It shouldn't be always. And one of the things that will make it not to be always is that they are mature enough to converse about it. They understand the right way to converse. And it's important to say that this comes by maturity. And what I just mean by maturity here is that you have grown in some understanding. You are not just growing in age, but you have an understanding. And I think this is a call to speak to even the parents that we have in our age and time, that they have to be intentional about training up their child or their children. I meant to say that scripture says that you train up a child in the way that it should go. Then that means there is a way that you should train up a child. It's not just to your creativity alone. I know that part is important, but there's a way that you should train up your child. There's the way to train up your child. So you can't just leave your child anyhow. You can't just train your child anyhow. And the reason why I'm talking about training a child is because I think it was yesterday I was in the class and somebody was saying if you don't give your time to your child from the age of 1 to 18, every other thing you'll be doing after then is more like a waste of time. You see that? And so it's important. You can imagine a child, for instance, has enough, maybe a child of, let's say, 8 years old or 7 years old, has enough food or has enough of something, and they don't even want to eat it. You notice that they don't even want to eat it. And maybe their brother or their sister or their sibling wants from it, and they are begging that they give. And rather than them not eating it, they would prefer to probably throw it on the floor, step on it, than giving to that other person. And when you see that, you don't just laugh around that and just say he's a small boy or he's a small child. No, that's not true. That's something you should talk about. That's something you should deal with immediately. You see that? Because the reason I'm saying this is maturity comes by experience. I think it's Hebrew 5 verse 8 now. Speaking of Jesus, he said, though he was a son, but he learned obedience. He learned obedience from the things that he suffered. Now, suffer there necessarily doesn't just mean painful experiences, but regardless of what experience it is, both painful, both calm, both the time that you have to speak with them calmly, both the time that you have to love on them, both the time that you modeled a particular kind of life to them, it's all the experiences that allows them to grow. So when you find partners or a love relationship where there is always quarrel, it's more like a constant quarrel, it's because they've not come to a point of understanding some things. Let me share something with you, for instance. So if I want to converse with someone, the orientation I should have is the reason we are conversing is to get the truth. You understand? And not for me to be the winner. So it is a wrong mindset or wrong orientation already to think the reason I'm conversing with you is because I want to win and I want you to be wrong. You see that? Now, if that's my goal, then that conversation has failed even from the start. There's no point conversing, because even if I'm now wrong, I want to win. And so if I'm seeing something right from the other person, I don't want to accept. And so that is why you see many persons have constant fight. There will be misunderstanding, but because of immaturity, things that should not be a problem. For instance, some persons just overly emotional about things that they could talk about, they just flare up on it. It's lack of immaturity. And so when you find these things, it's important that you either take pragmatic steps to making sure that they are dealt with, or you leave that toxicity. You see that? It's very, very important. Now, another thing that I think is important, that is a fear that you should run from, is the fear of deep character flaws. Now, by deep character flaws, I mean that there are things that are foundational in a way. And I think one of the verses in my mind is Proverbs 11 verse 3. Scripture says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So there are some things that it would take God, and it will take the intentionality of even the person to change. You see, for instance, deep character flaws can be flaws like lying. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone that will lie about everything. Trust issues. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone you can't trust, someone that can still betray you. You see that? Someone that still think prostitution is fine. So a lady, for instance, can think I can be with a guy and I can still be with another guy, like maybe just a side hustle. That's what they call it. So that's a deep character flaw. That flaws is too much. It's not something you want to manage. You see that it's a deep character flaw. You probably see someone that they cannot just accept to share anything with someone. They can't accept to tolerate anything. They are always grouchy. That's a flaw. That's a flaw that it will take them being so much intentional, and you have to see them willing to make a correction for you to go ahead with that. So that should be a fear that you should run away from. A deep character flaw, or when you find deep character flaws like lying, trust issues, betrayal, adultery, and all that, is something that you really want to sit down to talk about, or you probably take the bold step to leave if it's a relationship. Now, another thing that is important that should be a fear that you have to run away from when you notice is the fear of vacillation of belief, convictions, and faith. Now, what I mean by this is there are convictions or there are values or core values that are important to you. For instance, the value of or the conviction of loving God, believing that God exists and serving Him alone. For instance, the conviction of honesty and sincerity, of vulnerability, and you find someone not exhibiting, or you find someone not believing in these things, or either they want to make compromise as regards this thing. For instance, as a Christian, one of the core values is believing that you should be faithful to one person. You see that the value of not becoming an infidel, the value of fidelity. And when you now notice your partner still in the room of them being able to say there's nothing big in sleeping with somebody else, for instance, or there's nothing big in double dating, it's something you want to run away from. That's something that vacillates, or that is a compromise from your belief, system, your convictions, and the things that you carry to be important in your life. You see that? And so when you find the fear of, or when you notice the fear of vacillation and compromise of your conviction, when you notice that you are already afraid about that because of the person that you are with, it's important that you take important step, either to leave the relationship or to work or deal with the situation. Another fear that you should take caution from, or that you should be aware of, is the fear of disrespect. You see that the fear of disrespect, this is very, very important that you notice it. You don't want to be in a relationship or spend a love life with someone that disrespects you. And this has nothing to do with gender now. Whether you are the male, whether you are the female, it is important that the both parties or the both spouses be respected. You see that? Very, very powerful. And this is supported even by scripture. You see that? I think it's 2 Peter 3 verse 7 now. Scripture talks about how that the wife, the husband should dwell with the wife in understanding, and that they should give honor to them as them being weaker vessels. That's the first reason. And the second reason is because they are together heirs of life and of the grace of God. You see that? So they are together heirs of life. So your wife should be respected, your wife should be honored, and obviously your man should be honored, your husband should be honored, whether it's in a relationship now. For those that still in a relationship, you have to respect the person that you are with. And when you find that you are afraid of these kind of things, your spouse is not respecting you, or the person you want to spend the rest of your life is not respecting you, is something that you should watch out for. For instance, you can't be in a relationship where you can't give an opinion, or where you are afraid to give an opinion. When you notice things like that, it's not the relationship that you are in. You can't be afraid in your marriage or in a relationship or a love relationship to say no. For instance, you should not be afraid to say no. You should not be afraid to say, oh, I love what you said, but I think we should do it like this. You shouldn't be afraid to pursue your dreams. except if there is now a conversation for some level of compromise for the both of you now that is understandable. But you shouldn't be afraid to pursue your dream because you are thinking or you are threatened by your partner. You see that? So people that don't respect your dreams, they don't respect what you want to become, they don't respect the version of you that you want to become. They don't respect your opinions. It's someone you should run from. It's a fear that you should have about love relationship. It's a fear that you should have about love relationship that I mean now is when you notice that it's something you should run from. Now, it's important that you understand that there are relationships where people are respecting each other. So it is not in a bid to make you afraid of love relationship. This is in a bid and an attempt to make you take caution because these are foundational things. All the things that I've listed and mentioned is the reason you want to get married. So if they are not in marriage, somebody standing by you, somebody respecting you, somebody respecting your opinions, somebody wanting to support you. So if you don't find these things, I don't think it's something you want to stay in. Now, another fear that people should have or people should run from when they notice is the fear of posterity. The fear of posterity, and majorly talking about this, I would want to talk about not parenting necessarily in the big sense, but I just want to focus it on this person you want to start something out with, or this person that you are with. Are you going to be happy that your children will look like them? This lady, are you going to be happy that your children will talk the way they talk? Are you going to be happy that, because it is important to understand that a vast portion of the character that they have, or the character that they have, your children might exhibit them, or your offspring might exhibit them. So fear of posterity in this sense is that, are you fine with doing life with them? Are you fine seeing that your offspring will be like them? So this is very, very important. So you don't want to be around a guy that doesn't understand anything called responsibility. Do you want your children to be like that? Do you want your offspring to be like that? And very quickly, the last thing I'll be discussing about those fears is the fear of being with someone that doesn't want to grow. The fear of being with someone that doesn't want to grow. I think is one of my contents. I said something around true love is where you find two humble people that are sincerely willing to grow away from their ignorances. They are consistently willing to grow away from their ignorances. I've said in this side of the divide, I mean on earth, are people that are laden with weakness. Several persons laden with every shape, different shape, various shape and colors of weaknesses. And so it's not something to be ashamed of that you are weak in a particular dimension of life. But the problem now is that, are you willing to change? Are you willing to get better? Are you willing to work on yourself? Are you willing not to give excuses and be offended when you are corrected or when you are talked to about these things? It's important. In fact, when you're married to someone, one of the important things is that should be their goal is that they should see that you become a better person. You see that? I think it's one of my contents too. I said something like, your experience of love in the end, will be the picture of the growth process of your partner. Your experience of love in the end will be a picture of the growth process of your partner. So just think with me that your partner financially probably has in a year, what they earn is, let's say, 300,000. What they earn is 300,000. Whether they love you, whether they love to give to you, if they are going to give to you from that, they are going to be able to give to you. The capacity they can give to you is in the 300,000, or is within the range of the 300,000. And this is not to reduce love to finances alone, but I'm just citing an example. But if their capacity, for instance, is to earn 1 million, that means you are going to be also enjoying the level or that level of resources in the picture of love that you'll be experiencing from them. I don't know if that makes sense. So the in the end, the experience of love that you have is a function of the growth process of your partner. So very bad people and very wonderful people also love. You get the gist. So whether you're a good person, whether you're a bad person, whether you're someone that has grown well in character wise, or whether you're someone that has a character problem or that have a character problem, you will love. You see that everybody will love. So it now depends on who you love, how much of growth has happened in them, how much of themselves they've worked on. Because in the end, the experience or your experience of love will be a picture of their growth processes. I believe that this has blessed someone. I believe that this has helped someone, and I believe that this will allow that someone take a better decision as regards their love life and their marriages. Thank you so much, and I want that you probably share your light bulb moment, something that is important for you or that stood out for you in the discussion. I believe that you are blessed. Have a wonderful day. I love you.